Okay. So hopefully everything should look a hell of a lot better to when I did my last live stream. So we'll see how this plays out. So yeah, if you're new to the channel and you're not too sure what Lockdown Tech Source is, you can head over to the channel and check out all my other content. So I say we using the royal we. I produce a lot of content, and at the moment it's all solely produced by myself. That means working out what content I want to deliver, down to the editing, it's all covered by me. So yeah, a bit of a one-man band, but I'm enjoying it. So excuse me, I wanted to come on tonight to discuss a little bit, because we've had, like, September seems to be a crazy month in terms of device announcements and everything like that. So I really wanted to jump on and just kind of go through a few things with everyone. A lot of the tech that's been announced and released this month is stuff that I would invest in. So yeah, it seemed pretty relevant for me to come on this evening and kind of go through a few things that I've stumbled across. So yeah, if you've got any questions or anything, just drop them in the comments, and I'll do my absolute best to answer those. So I did a stream probably about a month ago now, and it was my intro stream. It was my first one, so it was kind of like the benchmark really as to what a stream is, what a stream can be, and it was absolute bare bones. So we had no sort of external mic or anything like that. It was all basically, let's share the stream. So just quickly, whilst maybe some of you are in, I don't know, we'll share the stream to the Facebook page. So we'll do that really quickly. Right, so I've just shared that out to one of my pages. Anyway, stream is public, so we should be okay. And I hope everyone's having a good Sunday night. So having a good time. But yeah, I kind of wanted to come on because September's a really big month for tech. So we've had loads of announcements in recent weeks. I mean, obviously I can't keep up with sort of like the purchases of all the kit and stuff like that. It's just insane, the amount that's going. So you've had GoPro, they've released the Hero 9, their new camera. You've got PlayStation and Microsoft that are both releasing their next generation consoles in the next couple of months. So you've got that. Apple have released iOS 14, which is only a software update, but then this month would generally be when they would release their phones, but they haven't. They've announced new iPads, new iPad Air, new Apple Watches. So there's a hell of a lot in terms of like in the tech world going on at the moment, so it's a lot to keep up with. But I kind of wanted to jump on tonight and really kind of follow on from what I did initially, which was an intro stream. Because what I did then was like the absolute bare bones. So I've got my iMac in front of me now, and it was literally just a case of me using the built-in webcam and the built-in audio from that in order to achieve a live stream, which in fairness I did, but the quality of it was definitely lacking. So the idea is that I would always push to improve the quality, and there's a couple of things that I've done since then, and hopefully those that watched my initial stream will understand and see the real differences between that production and like what I've managed to achieve now. So just to give you a couple of ideas as to what I did, this little guy here, this is the Maono MP421, and this is just a condenser microphone, and so hopefully the audio is coming through a lot crisper, a lot cleaner, and that sounds all good. I don't actually think we've got anyone watching, so this all seems very pointless, but let's just go to here. I don't know if so yeah, but anyway, we'll just run with it. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I wanted to really cover, which was first one being in my initial live stream, I did literally the bare bones. So it was literally the core. It was just using the iMac itself and running that, and I mean, it gave me a decent enough result, but not something that you'd really want to push too much. So yeah, I made some changes. I've put the camera on there now. I've got the new microphone, and hopefully now you can see that the quality of the stream that comes through is much better than what we had before. So yeah. But yeah, like I say, if anyone's in and they got any questions about anything that I've previously done or anything like that, just drop a comment in, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. Tonight's main stream, predominantly, I want to kind of cover a couple of things really. As I said a minute ago, September's like a huge tech month. I don't know if it's like planned or whether it's like on purpose, but for whatever reason, the month of September is just like jammer full of tech stuff. So we've had the GoPro Hero 9 come out, we've had Apple release new iPads, new watches, new everything. So it's kind of like it's a really big month in terms of tech launches and stuff like that goes. So yeah, I'm just looking, and this is all sort of like live stream testing really, because I don't do it a lot. So yeah, it's just trying to work things out and everything like that. So it's good to know that like, yeah, on a half decent size screen there, we're looking good. But yeah, so I really wanted to come on and chat about how difficult it is to maintain a channel with tech. But the other thing is the big one really is the console war, as a lot of people are dubbing it at the moment. I don't think it's a war, because I think competition amongst large companies like Sony, Microsoft, arguably a little bit Nintendo, but I think Nintendo are going to drop off in the coming years. I think they'll actually start to farm out their games, and I think they'll go down the subscription route, purely because their hardware in recent years hasn't been a big enough seller or a big enough draw to people. So I think you've still got really Sony and Microsoft that are sort of pushing the console market anyway, and then you've got PC gamers that are on a, they're on another level. So, but in this one, I want to talk about console gaming predominantly, because that's where I'm from. In terms of PC gaming, it's very confusing for me. I'd like to just get a box, chuck it under me telly, and be happy with whatever I'm getting out of that. So I've got to speak openly and freely about it, because that's the only way that I'll grow as a channel and everything like that. And I have to be unbiased in my opinion, and that can be very difficult when you use one service and not the other, such as say Android and Apple or Google or whatever. But I have to give my honest opinion. So there's definitely things that I love that Sony have done. There's things that I loathe, but that is the same with Microsoft. There's things that Microsoft do that are really, really good, and they push the boundaries and everything like that. But there's things that Sony do as well that you just kind of think, well, why have you gone and done that? And we're going to kind of go into it a little bit more in the next few minutes. But yeah, so I think, like, if you look at it at its core, both are pushing next gen consoles. So the great thing for the consumer is that you're going to get better quality content, you're going to get better res images, you're going to get better everything effectively. So in terms of, from a consumer's point of view, the best thing to happen out of the console wars is the fact that you're going to get more for your money. Hopefully, that's the idea. So what Microsoft lacked at the moment is they don't have the first party exclusives. Exclusive games for Microsoft are damn near non-existent. They're not bad, the ones that they do have. I mean, like Forza is brilliant, but yeah, like but yeah, sorry about that. The phone just went off. So yeah, you've got again, this is relaxed. If you're not up for relaxed, you go and watch like BBC News or something like that. Like, I don't know, but yeah. So this is more like a yeah, just more of like a chat really. I want to kind of discuss things and everything like that. So yeah, like I say, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments to go through. But like, kind of what I want to do here is, without babbling too much, is kind of go and explain why, as a consumer, I maybe favour Microsoft over Sony, and also maybe favour Sony over Microsoft as well. So if we look at it from the outside and looking in on things, right? So you've got two incredible companies pushing incredible consoles, and you've got game developers pushing like games to their absolute max. If you look at GTA 5 on the 360 or GTA 4, sorry, that game, like, almost, you could almost say that game told Microsoft and Sony that their consoles weren't where they needed to be. They absolutely pushed those consoles to the limit. So you look at the install sizes on those games as well, huge, like massive sizes. Quality is awful. You need a road. I didn't realize it was that bad. So yeah, if the audio is not sounding brilliant, just let me know, because this is, as I say, it's all an adjustment and everything like that. But yeah, so you have you have Microsoft pushing things, you have Sony pushing things, you've got Ubisoft, EA with their loot boxes and everything like that, like in the criticisms that they've come up to. But like, you have to look at things from a consumer point of view. So now, if as a consumer I really wanted first party titles and I was like, yeah, like, I want to be the only one playing that game, then Sony arguably would be your place to go, because they do have those exclusive titles. Now, does that hamper their progress a little bit? Potentially it does. Potentially not. It means they shift more units. So in a roundabout way, it kind of, like, if they keep it on their platform and they want to keep it in-house, that's absolutely fine, and that works for them, then that's brilliant. It's slightly different when it comes to Microsoft, because Microsoft's approach now is more like a subscription service, such as, say, Netflix. What Xbox are trying to do now is push something like Netflix, where you can sign up for $7.99 a month, and then you can literally just, you get access to a catalogue of games, and then you just play them. So, and then you cancel your subscription when you don't want to do it. So for me, that's really good, because I think what you're going to find with next gen consoles is the game prices are going to go up, which I don't think anyone should really be surprised about. There's a lot of work and effort and teams of people that go into creating these games. So it would be naive to think that they wouldn't ramp the price somewhat. So I think for me, overall, it's just the way certain things have been handled. So the pre-order saga at the moment with the PlayStation 5, frankly, is embarrassing from Sony's point of view. I'm hoping for better from Microsoft in terms of the way they do it, and they've pretty well stamped a line in the sand and gone, do you know what, we're going to release this console on the 22nd of September, and it's available at this time in certain regions. So that's the plan. But digital, I'm forced to pay the prices, but I still choose digital over disc. So that's an interesting argument, digital over disc. And I'm conflicted in a way, because I think the Xbox Series S, you take that out of this argument, because I don't think it's there. It's a brilliant console, and I've heard like guys arguing about that console and saying, oh, well, that will hamper developers and they'll not develop for the best gen console and stuff like that. And you're like, they don't develop games for the Nintendo Switch, for Xbox One and PS4, PS5. They don't go, oh, what's our benchmark going to be? It's going to be the Switch. It will be PC, probably primarily ahead of like console anyway, and then it's down-resed, and it's just the way that they down-res it and they scale it back to suit every platform. I've seen guys playing the original Doom on pregnancy tests, so it's like, it just goes to show like how far things have come. So digital is the future. I think you're right. I think digital is, but it's, for me, the only thing with digital at the moment is it's the future, but it's not there. we're not there yet, and I think Xbox tried to do it. I think on launch of their Xbox One, they went for the all digital version, and it got absolutely slapped because people were like, I don't want to not own my games, or I don't want this, I don't want that. So I think you're right. I think digital is going to be the way things are going. I think streaming platforms, Stadia's come into the game and kind of gone, let's stream everything, which is a viable option. I think for me, my personal opinion on it is I think we're probably close to it, but we're not there yet. And there's a couple of reasons behind it. I think until we get 5G rollout, little point in Project X Cloud or PS, whatever their version of, if they're doing it, whatever their version of sort of cloud-based gaming is, because we simply don't have the internet or the scalability in order to be able to do it. So we don't have 5G capabilities in order to be able to do those games. And the other thing I think at the moment is with all digital, I love the idea of it, and I think it will be the future. I think you'll start to see everything go. I mean, we all have a digital fingerprint, and I think that's the future and stuff. And I could go deep into it and say, well, currency will be dead, like we won't be handling cash and stuff like that. And I think in a few years down the line, that's entirely plausible, especially when you look at the rise of sort of like online currencies such as Bitcoin and stuff like that. I think that's where things will go. They'll move, and we'll move into the digital age, if you like. But we're not there yet, and I've got to speak about these consoles from the point of view which is today. And I think as a consumer, bang for your buck, Xbox delivers more than what Sony does. It's fairly straightforward, really. We get access to your Game Pass. You've got now an option to subscribe. Now, that might not be for everyone. People may not want to pay a 2-year direct debit on a console. But when you look at things like an iPhone or an Android phone or something like that, where you're spending, getting on north of £1,000 for a phone, and you pay for your line rental, and you pay for your minutes, and you pay for your data, it's nice to have that option with a console. And I know people that have adopted the all access passes and stuff, and they can literally pick that up and go home and go, you know what, we're gonna just literally see that out, jump onto Game Pass, and there's a library of 100 plus games there to go. Now, they're not 100 plus AAA titles that you're going to go, oh yeah, I'm well up for that. Like they're not there. But Microsoft have been quite aggressive in the way that they've gone about buying their studios, and titles like Forza Horizon, Forza titles, your Halos, your flight simulators, your Age of Empires, your stuff like that, that is all going native to Game Pass day one of launch. So it's really, for me, it's flexibility, and it's my options. If I decide that I want to throw away my console next week, and I just, I'm done with console gaming, I want to go and buy a PC, I can take my progress, my games, my Game Pass subscription, throw it onto a computer, and like I'm ready to go. Now you can get that with the Steam library, so it's it's very, very difficult, but I think it's the flexibility for the consumer that, for me at the moment, gives Microsoft the edge. What doesn't give Microsoft the edge is the lack of first-party titles. They don't have it, but it's not that they're not coming. It's just they're not there. It's like Sony, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. That game at the latest PlayStation conference looks incredible. It's the only reason I would go and pick up a PlayStation. Now, if that game come to Xbox, and I was on PC, would I need to go and buy that? No, it's very, very difficult. So you've got it's a very fine line as to why you buy something, but I kind of have to be subjective in the way that I game on an Xbox, and because I've done that for years, so it's very, very difficult. I just think if you look at the way things are handled, the Sony launch was incredible. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a capable console. I actually think that although maybe the Microsoft has the edge in terms of power, and you look at the specs, I actually think from the naked eye, you're really not going to see a difference between these consoles. I don't think there's any. I'd be staggered if you can look at an Xbox gameplay and then look at Sony gameplay or PlayStation gameplay and go, you can quite obviously tell which is which. I just don't think there's a big enough spec difference between either of them to go, that's definitely one or the other. So hardware aside, there's no I think they're neck and neck, although on paper and physically the Xbox does have the edge in terms of, and I think a lot of it is just so Microsoft can brand the most powerful console across all their stuff. I think by the naked eye, when you're actually playing it, I don't know if you'll see a major difference. You might see some small performance issues in the background in terms of loading up games and stuff like that, which is nice. But I don't buy that you'll actually see any major improvements. But you have to kind of put the two together. And as I said earlier, I don't think the Series S is really involved in this battle, because it's not really there. The Series S, what I like about that console is that perhaps someone who wants to sort of buy the next gen console but doesn't maybe have the money to do it, that's an easy way in. That's a good outlet for them. And I still think it will be a really nice little digital unit. Love the new mic setup. I don't know, mate. It might be a good little singing setup, but I'm not about to try it. Trust me. But yeah, you've got like pros and cons on either side. Like price wise, there's nothing to take it to apart by your all digital version. But the only thing with the all digital version is that at the moment, I think we're nearly there. But Sony will, you can buy keys online, you can buy download codes, you can do all of that. But I don't know, like if you go and spend, and we know the new or next gen titles are going to be what, like 70 quid a throw. So like you don't own that. Like, so that's 70 quid thrown at a game that you might play for a couple of weeks, maybe. If you're like me, I'm a bit of a casual. I jump in and I jump out. And that's the thing that I don't really like about it at the moment, is you don't have the physical disc. You haven't got any option to get any of your money back. You can't like go and sell it at CEX or Game or anything like that. And I just kind of like, I'm a bit old school in the mentality where I'm kind of like, I want to go and buy it. I want that midnight launch. I want to go and actually get hands on, like get the game case, load it up. Like, and I know it's gonna be a thing of the past, but like whilst it still exists, I like that option. Having the disc drive as well. Like, there's people with collections of DVDs, Blu-rays, and everything like that, and it's kind of like, well, at the moment, we're not really to the point of being digital where we can just step back and go, right, that's it. Like, we're not going to do disc anymore. Like, it's not a thing anymore. We're done. So, it kind of, the Xbox One S digital, I think, will give Microsoft a good idea as to how many people adopt into it. As I said, they tried to do this at the launch of I think it was the original Xbox, and were literally slapped about for it. They were just like, it's not going to work. Like, put a disc drive in there. though I do agree, I think that we will inevitably go towards an era where we have a digital fingerprint and all our games come come through that. We'll have an online subscription, or we'll have an online profile, and we'll purchase games through that. I just don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're there. I would still pre-order a disc game over downloading it online. It's very, very rare at the moment that I download games online unless they're part of my Game Pass subscription. I still like to go and buy the game and own it, and then have the option to go back and recoup some of my money if that game turns out to be not what I wanted. So, and that's where I think if you're going all digital, you need to know that the game that you're about to buy, like you're not going to be able to get a refund on it. If that game's dreadful and you're like, I'm buying that game at launch and it's horrendous, like you don't have, or you may not have any option to get any of your money back. And that for me is just something that I don't really like that. You can not like a game and just be like, yeah, I don't like it. But yeah, I still think at least having the game, there's still an option for you to then go back to CEX and go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to get my money back, or I'm going to try and sell it to them and just recoup some of my costs. And I think companies like Game, CEX, those secondary market sort of sales companies would suffer from an all digital platform, because they'd have very, very little reason to exist. But that's not, they have to, companies will have to adapt. I mean, it's like, look, when was the last time you went out and bought a video or a tape? Like, we didn't. Things moved, and tech moves, and technology moves with the times. And the thing is, I think the way things are moving is they'll go to digital. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it, really. But yeah, I just wanted to speak from the point of a consumer and kind of go, would I buy an Xbox One S all digital? No. Because not because of its specs or anything like that, but because I'm not ready for all digital yet, and I don't think there's a lot of companies and things and people that are necessarily ready for that yet. Others will be, but I like the idea of owning the physical game, having the disc drive, playing that game, and then if I go, well, that game is pants, like, I'll sell that. That's why I love Game Pass, because Game Pass gives you the opportunity to just give a game a go for like $6.99 a month. If you don't like it, you just delete it, play someone else. And now that they've bundled that with EA, even better. So yeah, it's very difficult for me to be subjective over something because I'll be honest, I don't play Sony. And there's one major reason for it, is because all of my friends play Xbox. And that is the biggest thing over whether you agree with how Sony conduct their business, how Microsoft conduct their business, how whatever. The biggest thing at the moment, until we get crossplay, the biggest thing is that you are on a platform that enables you to communicate and play games with your friends, because that's what gaming is for me. Moreover, like, which console, which one's better powered, like, I would rather play a Game Boy with my friends than go and get a Nintendo, Xbox, whatever. Like, I would rather play a Game Boy knowing that I had the ability to play with my friends than buy an Xbox Series X and not. So that's the biggest deciding factor for me personally. Moss, sound is very quiet. Try turning it up, mate. I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at my levels now. I'll turn the gain up a little bit, mate. We'll try that. Hopefully that's a little bit louder. I was a little bit set back from the mic, but yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you you play on a platform with your friends. That's the biggest thing, over and above anything else. And I just think that, I don't know, I just don't like the way things have been conducted with Sony. I think the pre-ordering on this generation of console has just been diabolical, to a point where we heard rumours about balloting before. I've turned the gain up a little bit, so just let me know if that's made any differences or anything like that. Yeah, but in terms of balloting and stuff like that, maybe that would have been the way to go. Like, if they knew they were short, then do that. And the thing is we're not even at Xbox Series X launch yet. So Microsoft could well have exactly the same problems. And look, let's face it, we're in a global pandemic. So manufacturing, everything worldwide is taking a major hit. Hold nothing against any company that's struggling for supply and demand. But be real about it and understand that, like, if you're telling us you've got 10 million units, but you've only got 6, or you've only got 5, or you're staggering launch dates and stuff like that, then, like, just be honest. Be real about it, or ballot it, or be open. It's very, very difficult for PlayStation as well and Sony to understand how many people are gonna go out and buy these devices and stuff, but it's still how you respond. It's just not been handled. For me, it's just not been handled very well at all. Which kind of, it just leaves a bit of a bad taste, really. I mean, I don't have any intention of going out and getting one initially. That's not to say, I mean, the last generation of console, I almost got one for Spider-Man, and this next Spider-Man game looks incredible. If you haven't seen it, go and look at it. So Signa, I used to have a PS3, but got rid of it due to the hacking of thousands of people's account wallets. Yeah, so yeah, they've had security breaches, but I'm not going to hold that against them, really. Like, there's major tech firms that have had, like security breaches. I know, PlayStation, that one was really, that was a really high profile case in terms of, getting hacked. I just want to go back to a comment as well from the Secret Workshop prop store on customs. The other problem with digital downloads is you don't actually have a physical copy of the game. Steam games, for instance, you don't actually own according to their EULA. So yeah, exactly. You kind of, although you own it, you don't have the ability to do what you'd like with that game. I've heard rumor that Microsoft and maybe others are looking at a way where they can almost create like a pre-owned market online, which, I mean, if they do that, then that's pretty well the nail in the coffin for your likes of CEX and Game and stuff. I think Game's expensive anyway, but yeah, it remains to be seen. But yeah, so like, I mean, I just want to kind of summarize things up. This isn't me just bashing the hell out of Sony. Like, a lot of the stuff the camera I'm recording on now is a Sony device, so it's not about me like holding a personal grudge against a company. It's about how a company maybe conducts business and does things in certain ways. And there's a lot of stuff like over the years where I've just been like, why? Like EA Access came to the Microsoft platform and they were like, yep, we'll do that. And it took like a year or so for Sony to go, yeah, we'll get it done. And I know there's licensing issues and everything that runs in the background, but like, why? It just doesn't make sense. Things like Game Pass, things like All Access passes. So, someone say a family, like, they want to go and they want to buy, like, say my lad Jack wanted a Xbox One console, the latest one for Christmas. Not that he does, but say he did, and I just wasn't in a position to be able to stump up, excuse me, best part of £500 for a new console. That all access that's your live membership. There's access to 100 games, 28 quid a month, or even go better than that. We'll go Xbox Series S. It's all digital, but chuck the Game Pass on there. That's like a 250 quid box that you can pay off over 2 years with no interest, like running Game Pass next to your computer. Like that's just ridiculous value. But flip side of that, like Sony, no, because you want it, not him. Yeah, yeah. Well, I probably will be getting the new console. So we got another comment on Sony will drop or sell in third party now because over-the-air upgrading is more profitable. Since when can you buy an expansion pack? You can't. It's easy to download. It is. It is easy to download, but I still think at the moment, in terms of exclusivity, Sony are just way like they've just got it nailed. Like the Kojima stuff, the games that they've got. I mean, they're not even games really that I am particularly thrilled about playing, but like in terms of like when Sony create a AAA exclusive title, they nail it. And I don't know if it's just because there's that many more people playing on that platform, or whether it's just because I come across it all the time. But I mean, I go back to like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like those games, like Insomniac Games, they created, and I can't remember for the life of me now the game that they did for Xbox, but they created a exclusive for Xbox, and Xbox just canned it. But then Xbox canned like Fable, which was incredible. Like they got rid of Fable, which like if you're an Xbox fan and you've used it for years, like you'll know Fable. So like, why? It's madness. But like, yeah, Sony do great things with their games, with their first party studios and stuff. But for me, that's all they've got. Like the only thing that they have now is their first party, and people to go, well, I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Well, I don't really care much for Horizon Zero Dawn, but I'm glad that you're having a good time with it. But whilst you've spent 70 quid on that game, I've paid for 8 months of Game Pass, got Halo, got Forza, got all Microsoft Studios games at launch available on a Game Pass subscription. So it's very, very difficult. The way I'd weigh it up, in honest terms, if Sony are saying our first party studio games now are going to be £70 each, okay, fair enough. Like, you wouldn't argue with that because the development that goes into it is like incredible. Like, there's a lot of work there. These guys are cinematographers. This will be the future of. If you look at the gaming industry as a whole, it is just growing and growing and growing, and this is literally where things are going to go. Like, gaming is just it's already exploded. It's got another level to go just yet. So if you take their first party games at £70 a piece and you want to buy one or two of them, then you're 140 quid into it. So it's kind of like, well, yeah. The thing I really like about Game Pass is that at least your first party titles, when they get round to develop it, so like Fable, I love Fable. Like when that comes, when the next iteration of Forza comes, that will be on Game Pass. So it's like there. And the other thing is, and I'm not maybe suggesting that people do it, but sign up for a trial. You know. What do you think of Apple linking a PS4 controller to the platform? So I didn't realise actually that PS4 controller support was available on Apple. I knew that Xbox controller support was, but I didn't know about PS4. I'll go back to PS. is that PS4? Well, I'd assume PS5 as well. The one thing I will say about the PS5 controller that I love is they put a microphone in it. And I felt like I was speaking to myself for years. Like, I don't, why have, like, we got Siri on our phones, we got Hey Google, we got Alexa. No, she didn't hear it, so it's fine. We get, like, all of these things that are voice activated, and we've yet to have a controller that you could imagine if you can just go PlayStation, go to, like, just so sensible. On Apple TV, go to settings, remotes, devices, Bluetooth. Once there, hold the PlayStation button. There you go. So there's something I didn't know. I didn't know you could use a DualShock controller on Apple, but apparently you can. So yeah, no, but that's good. It's opening up, controllers and stuff. I have a mate who's just bought he's just gone and bought an Elite controller and sold his Xbox. So he might be feeling a little bit silly now. But yeah, the Elite controller. I mean, the thing is with the controllers, like I say, the PS5, the game changer was the PS5 controller is more like the Xbox controller now. But the game changer for me is that microphone. I mean, imagine that. Like, the other thing is if you didn't have to wear a headset and you could actually just talk into that mic and have the audio come back through the TV at you, like, that would just be brilliant. Like, without having the need to plug in a wireless or wired mic or anything like that, that'd be really nice. So yeah, it's good that the thing is like, it's good all round for the consumer that these two companies are just kind of like going at it, but like, they're not really doing that. I actually wouldn't be surprised, and this is way out there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Game Pass go on to PlayStation. It's bold, but I could see it happening. You can have the best microphone in the world, but if it's like Siri on Apple, it will be shockingly beep. Yeah, so Siri's rubbish. Alexa's like a hell of a lot better than Siri. But it's still the fact it's there. And to actually integrate a microphone into the controller is just smart. It's just clever. It's not. You're not. The thing is like, Microsoft and Xbox worked incredibly hard to like go like, we're gonna make the ergonomics of this controller the best. Like, and if you don't think it's the best controller going, I challenge you to tell me a better controller. I'm just trying to think now. Like the N64, like the three-pronged garden fork. Like, I mean, I can remember holding that and being like, yeah, playing GoldenEye and stuff, and just thinking that. I don't know if it's just me going from Xbox to PlayStation, but when I've held like a DualShock pad, I just like, it was like, it's right around here, like right in the palm. I'm just like, I can't get on with that. No, so it didn't work for me, but it works for like millions of others. So I'm not knocking it, but I still think the ergonomics of the Xbox controller are just bang on. So yeah, but yeah, I don't want to drone on for too long, and I don't want this to be like just me bashing Sony, because best was the Sega Mega Drive fact. Yeah, don't know if I was alive then, mate. I'm telling you now, the Mega Drive controller now will not stand up against any Xbox pad. Not on your Nelly. Not a chance. In fact, I'll go, the Sega controller ain't going to stand up against the Nintendo Switch, because times have come on, so much more since then. But I didn't want to make this like a Sony bash. And like I say, I'm recording this on Sony devices. I own Sony devices. So, yeah. I just think from a consumer's point of view, from a consumer-driven perspective, they just seem to like handle things really poorly. The pre-ordering and stuff. I've got friends who've like. I mean, the other day I just like, before I went to work, I logged on and just thought, I'll check if they're still available, because if they're sold out now, I think they were saying like it was midnight launch. So in the morning, I went onto Argos's website and added one to my basket and was like, yeah. So they're obviously not got the stock issues and stuff, but clearly they do. They've delayed the launch for the rest of the world to the 19th. But I don't hold that against them. Like I say, I think coronavirus and stuff, in terms of production and everything like that, if you think that hasn't had a ripple effect around the world, then you're incredibly naive. I actually anticipate major issues with the next iPhone launch as well. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be plain sailing there. So yeah. But if anyone's got any questions or anything like that, I'm not going to stay too much longer. We're nearly at the hour mark now. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and kind of give my 10 pence worth, really. I think as a consumer, I feel iPhone will be 2 different days. Pro will be later. Yeah, exactly. So, I don't think that Sony not having the numbers and stuff is I don't think Sony having the numbers and stuff is is a major thing. I just think it could have been done a little bit cleaner. It could have been. People heard rumors about ballots and stuff like that, and maybe and people panicked over ballots, but actually a ballot would have been the fairest way. VR, to be honest with you, mate, VR, I don't think consoles now. I don't think they're going to support VR. PlayStation probably will, because they got that VR unit. So again, that's another point in the direction of PlayStation. Whether that VR is any good or not remains to be seen, because there's VR and then there's proper VR, if you like. Yeah, the problem with VR is it's immersive, isn't it? So if you feel sick after 15 minutes, it's kind of like, well, you are playing a VR game. Yeah, so the Rift is an option. Yeah, definitely. And VR gaming is something that I played on the HTC Vive, and I can remember I was at EGX one year, and the computer that I looked down and it was on wheels, and I spoke to the bloke and I said, well, how much to run a rig like this? And he was like, you won't see any change from 10 grand. So it's kind of like, well, what level of VR can you get if, VR will only hit big time when, seriously, VHS. It was used to distribute porn. Right, okay, so we know what Moss is up to anyway, don't we? So but yeah. So anyway, I need to summarise, round this off and get this done. I think from, like I say, I mean, I've got to take a subjective approach, and so what I love about Sony, microphone in the controller. I really like that. I think that's clever. They actually hold the market share, so I love their nous when it comes to launches and stuff like that. They don't need to go first. They can respond to pricing fairly easily because they own the lion's share of the market. First party titles, the titles that they get, they're not necessarily always the ones that I want to play, but they are first party titles, so they get exclusivity on those games, and you know, and that is a big draw for a lot of people, like God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Last of Us. These are top titles that, you know, people are going to that console for that very, very reason. Now, Microsoft's response is delayed because they've gone out and invested the money in those studios, but we yet to see any real return from it. So yeah, Sony do a lot of really, really good things. I'd say on the negative side, I think the launch of this console's been pretty poor. I'd say in terms of pre-ordering and stuff like that, people are desperate to get their hands on this. And I think if this was Xbox, I'd definitely look at them, you know, in a different light, because, you know, it's not, you know, it's about leveling with people, you know, and going, right, we haven't got the units, we haven't got the numbers, ballot, or, you know. And I actually think it's still, I think if you're sat here watching now and thinking, I'm not going to get my hands on one for my son for Christmas, my daughter, or whatever, don't be concerned, because actually I think it will come. I think they're just feeling the waters a little bit and working out volumes and what people want to do. The only thing I would strongly suggest you do is go on to one of the websites that are doing the pre-orders, which is, you know, very AO, John Lewis, Argos, Currys. They're all selling it. Go on there and register your interest and just go, right. And they will email you at least and give you a date as to when they're likely to get them back in stock. So, Call of Duty VR. Wow, now I'm in. Signal Music UK. Ready Player One would be good, and I'm surprised we haven't had a Ready Player One game yet. Actually, that would be quite sweet, especially in VR as well. That would be like, yeah, that'd be mega trippy. But yeah, so there's a lot of good things that Sony does, and I didn't want it to be about bashing them. They've created a brilliant product. They're a brilliant brand, but there's just stuff that you think, why have you gone and done that? Like, why are you not letting EA access on there? Why are you, you know, cocking up the pre-ordering system and stuff like that, and not telling retailers when they can sell them from? I mean, that's like basics. That's basics. Rockstar Games don't go and launch Red Dead 2 and say, well, I tell you what, go and sell it when you want. like go and open it up for pre-order whenever you like. You know, it's different because the game's 50 quid, but like console hardware, man, like, come on. So it's just poor. It's just poor. But again, you know, it's not about knocking them too much. I just think that they're from my, like, from a customer service point of view, it's just not very good at all. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. And I know a friend of mine, he's going to go and get one, and of course I'll hopefully get a chance to have a look at it and see how it is. I won't be getting one. I won't be purchasing. And I go back to the initial point I made, which was I buy a console to go and play games where my friends are, and my friends are all on Xbox. There's no reason for me to leave that ecosystem, because that's where they are. Now, if crossplay comes in, which Microsoft have extended the olive branch, and there's few games out there now that are available for crossplay. You know, if we start getting that, it might make things different. But yeah, so we'll see. Thanks for hanging around tonight, guys. Again, this wasn't planned or anything. I just wanted to to get out there, get live and connect with the audience again, because it's been a little while. I haven't done much in the way of videos. Work's been a little bit hectic for me. Yeah, so the new consoles are SSDs. Just to answer one of those last questions that come in. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys sticking around and asking the questions that you have done. It's been fun. And I look forward to pre-ordering my console on the 22nd of September at 8 a.m. because that's what Microsoft do. They give you the details. So get off to watch Gadgetcast. Yeah, good shout, mate. Good shout. But yeah, we'll have. I mean, like I said, I've been fairly explicit from the start in terms of I'm not going to be an adopter of the Sony. It's just because my friends don't play there. Doesn't mean I don't like the platform. I don't like the way they sometimes operate as a company, whether it's down to PlayStation as a division or whether it's down to Sony. I think the way they treat their consumers sometimes is a little bit naive. Keep building the channel. Yeah, of course, I'm always cracking away, mate. So it's not not expecting fame overnight at all, and it's not about that. It's not about that at all. But yeah, like I say, I'll go and pre-order my Xbox, and people are going to pre-order their PlayStations, and yes, everyone will be happy, harmonious, and loving one another. But yeah, I think that just some of the way things have been handled by certain teams and the way it's been done is just leaves a little bit of a bad taste in the mouth, and you kind of think, well, you shouldn't really do that. But that's not just Sony that do that. There's companies all over the world that do it. For example, BT putting your price up on your sports subscription and stuff like that. So it's it's just another example. But yeah, it's been fun. Console wars is definitely not over. I don't define it as a war. I think I quite like the war, because the war and that side of it only means that the consumer actually benefits. When you've got two companies going toe to toe to try and create new consoles, the only winner is the consumer. So that's good. Apple made games consoles. When your Mac Mini comes, try and download a game on it. And not an arcade game either. Not solitaire. That doesn't count. That's not really a game, is it? So, yeah, don't go and do that. But yeah, we're in a, like I say, there's options for both. But yeah, I'm definitely team Xbox, but I'm not here to berate Sony or anything like that and say, holier than thou. So yeah, but anyway, I better shoot. I've got lots of video editing to do that I haven't done yet, so yeah, I better crack on with that. But yeah, I'd really appreciate any feedback in the comments. Let me know which side you're on. Are you Xbox, are you PlayStation, and for what reasons? Everyone's got their own choice. Everyone's got their own decision. But I can only give you my opinion based on, what I've dealt with. I haven't used PlayStation since PlayStation 2, so I'm not in a very good position to go around and say, don't buy it because it's rubbish or it's this or it's that or the other. There'll be people out there with a much better position on me, but all I can do is look at and go, well, why haven't they done that, and why have they acted in this way, and why have they, and if you look at it from the outside, you kind of got to go, well, not very good, is it? So yeah, Sony, definitely a thumbs down there for the way that you've kind of handled this. Like I say, I think you've still got plenty of units in the tank. I think you're probably whipping up a little bit of a storm, in terms of trying to get sales in or whatever. Like, I don't think you need to worry about that, but yeah. Thanks for sticking around tonight, guys. Really, really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone.